Hi, this is Sara Oehler here with Flex Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy tassel earring using Flex beading wire. So I've already cut my wires. I cut 5 pieces and each piece is 6 inches long. And I'm using the medium diameter beading wire in Flex. But you really could use any of our 4 diameters. If you use a thinner, it's just going to be a little bit lighter and more feathery, whereas the thicker wires are just going to give you a little bit more oomph and a little more bounce on the ends. So I'm going to take all 5 strands of beading wire and I'm going to string them through my ear wire. They should all fit pretty easily. It is a snug fit in this little ear wire, but they do all fit. And then I'm going to take the ear wire to the very middle of the 5 wires, and then I'm going to take those ends, condense them together, and then string them through a 3x3 Flex crimp tube. Now the Flex crimp tubes are double the wall thickness of most. They're also seamless. They're very solid, strong crimps. And the 3x3 is perfect for multiple strands, so it works quite well in an earring like this. I'm going to go ahead and cinch that down just as far as I can get it. Now, since I'm already working with an earring that I made earlier, I want to kind of make sure that they look similar. Normally in a handmade earrings, it's not going to look perfect when you make the second earring. But I do want it to look somewhat similar, and that looks like it matches pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and hold on to all of these wires coming out of the bottom and use my mighty crimping pliers to crimp the 3x3 crimp tube. Just like the regular crimping pliers, in the mighty crimping pliers, there's a rounder in front and a tooth in back. I'm going to use the tooth first to gently compress and create a divot in my crimp tube. And then I'm going to turn it on its side and gently compress again. And I like to go around it several times, tightening it down. And what this does is actually cinches the metal of the tube into the nylon coating of the wire, so nothing's going to slip or slide. When I'm done with that, I can go ahead and just frill out my tassels. And again, they're not going to look the same as they do in the other earring. Each one's going to be kind of unique, but I can get them to look fairly similar by pulling on the ends and letting the wire make its own shape. Now, if you want, you can even add a little bit of bling to these. These are, as they are a wonderful pair of earrings. They're very light, so they're great to wear with your hair up and just let them sort of dust your shoulders. You could even cut them a little bit shorter if you want to trim, have some long, some short strands. So that would look like this. You want to just sort of give it a little bit of a haircut. You can do that with each earring. Or another thing that I thought would be fun is to add some beads. So I'm just using a typical, looks like a 3mm check glass bead, really small. I'm using black. You could definitely use seed beads or crystals or any kind of bead you want, and in any color that you want. I'm going to string on the bead, and then I'm going to string on one of these itty bitty, and I don't expect that you can see these very clearly, but there is a 1x1 crimp tube there on the end of the wire. I can choose a couple different things. I can crimp that crimp tube at the very tip of the wire and let the bead go down to the bottom, or I can even do the bead up high and then do another one down low. I think that's what I'm going to do today. So the micro crimpers work just like those mighty crimpers that I just used. Again, they have a rounder in the front and a tooth in the back, but in this case they're really tiny so that they fit the 1x1 crimp tube. So again, I'm going to use that tooth. I'm going to slip it on its side round in, go around a couple times till it's all anchored in place. And then that little itty bitty crimp tube is going to hold the bead on the wire for me. Now if I wanted to make another layer, I'll go ahead and string another bead on, another crimp tube, and then I'll crimp again with the micro crimpers. So with a 1x1 crimp tube, you're going to use micro crimping pliers. With a 2x2 crimp tube, you'll use our regular crimping pliers. And then with a 3x3 crimp tube, you'll use the mighty crimping pliers. So there you've got it. I'll probably go through and do that several times so that I've got several strands that have beads, and then I'll trim it up a little bit more just to make it all look very unique and special to me. But there's lots of different options. You can make these your own. I'm making them in black, but obviously we have tons of different colors, especially in the medium diameter. So by all means, make it your own. Choose a different color or different diameter. Add beads or don't add beads. Add colored beads rather than black beads. But you know, the fun of jewelry making is that you can take a project like this, and by the time you're finished with it, it's going to look completely different but fantastic compared to mine. So if you enjoyed this project, please check out some of our other videos here on the YouTube page. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to get updates and see whenever we post a video. And if you'd like to learn more about our products and services or see some of our free project ideas on our website, please stop by www.softflexcompany.com.